Hello, this is Alex Richter with another edition of your Atlanta and National Sports Update. In local news, the Hawks are off to a horrible start, unfortunately, losing 4 of their first 5 games going into Sunday's contest against the Milwaukee Bucks. This includes dropping their home opener on Friday night to the Denver Nuggets by a score of 105 to 100. The Hawks were also without the talent of Dennis Schroeder for the last few games until Friday night due to injury to his foot that he suffered against the Brooklyn Nets. But he was able to play on Friday and is expected to continue on Sunday. Also, Atlanta Hawks second-year player DeAndre Bembry has been listed as being out 4 to 6 weeks due to a fractured right wrist that he recently had surgery to fix on Monday. The Hawks hope that they can beat the Bucks on Sunday before playing their next game on the road afterwards. In Atlanta soccer news, the Atlanta FC United Soccer Club lost in the wild card game against Columbus on Thursday evening by a score of 3-1 in penalty kicks after regular time and extended time, which halted their inaugural season. Along the way, they were able to set many attendance records and provide a quality team on the field that got the whole city excited about the new reinvented soccer team for Atlanta that should be inspiring for many years to come and a bright future ahead. In Atlanta football news, first off, the Falcons finally got a win against the New York Jets today by a score of 25 to 20. Matt Bryant chipped in with 4 field goals, and Matt Ryan continued his impressive streak of consecutive games with over 200 yards passing today, achieving 254 yards along with 2 passing touchdowns. Josh McCown wasn't far behind. He had 250 yards, I believe, and also passed for 2 touchdowns. But still, it was the Falcons who came out on top, who are now 4-3 as they go into next week's matchup against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, November the 5th at 1 o'clock in Carolina. UGA thoroughly defeated the Florida Gators on Saturday evening by a score of 45 to 7. Florida's defense just didn't show up to play, I guess, and this has been a continuing trend for them where their safeties and cornerbacks just cannot cover pretty much anybody's defense for that matter, giving up many touchdowns to a lot of the SEC schools and just proving that below average offense cannot help support a really just decrepit defense. It was the largest win by UGA over Florida in the past 35 years when they won by the same score in 1982 of 45 to 7, still also down in Jacksonville. And more locally, Kennesaw State managed to shut out Presbyterian by a score of 28 to 0 in Presbyterian on Saturday afternoon, leading them to have a record of 6-1 heading into their next big game against Montana State next weekend in Montana, where they look to defeat the Bobcats and continue their really successful winning streak of 6 games now after dropping their home opener a while back in August. And in Braves news, even though there's no live action going on anymore, after the recent disgraceful termination of GM John Coppolella and the stepping in of interim GM John Hart, the Braves were hoping to interview Kansas City Royals GM and past Braves GM Dayton Moore for the opening position. Unfortunately, the Royals denied their request due to the structure of the extension he had just signed with the Royals 2 years ago, which gives the Kansas City Royals front office the authority to negate other teams from having negotiations with him to join their front office instead. The Gwinnett Braves still have not announced their new name change, but that should be coming along in the next week, as was originally reported that they were expected to release their new rebranded name around Halloween or the beginning of the month of November. And even though we don't know their new identity, we do know that a couple of stars, Ronald Acuna and starting pitcher Max Fried, are doing very well in the Arizona State Fall League. As Acuna just hit 2 home runs yesterday, and prior to that, Max Fried pitched 7 shutout innings to help their squad to wins the past two days. So even though the front office for the Atlanta Braves doesn't look too in order, unfortunately, the new talent does seem to be picking up and maturing right on schedule. In other sports news, to go with the Braves, the World Series is currently heading into Game 5 tonight at 8 o'clock with the Los Angeles Dodgers and Houston Astros being tied at 2 games each so far, with the both teams having pretty superb pitching and holding each other's offenses to very low run totals. Prior to yesterday's game, where the Dodgers did break out a little bit in a win by a score of 6-2 in Houston, where the Astros only had a total of 2 hits, both of which were home runs, one by George Springer and the other by Alex Bregman in the bottom of the 9th off of Kenley Jansen. However, that was not enough for them to overcome the deficit that they were facing. Hopefully, the Astros hope to pick up another win in their last home game of the season against Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw when they send Dallas Keuchel to the mound, and hope that this will lead them to being one game away from World Series victory heading into Game 6. And in hockey news, the Atlanta Gladiators, minor league affiliate of the Boston Bruins, recently picked up their first win of the season on Thursday evening by a score of 6-5 over Greenville, away from home. And their next home game will be at the Infinity Energy Center in Lawrenceville, when they play the Missouri City Mavericks on November the 3rd at 7:30 p.m. In other hockey news, the upstart Las Vegas Golden Knights have been off to a very hot start after all the publicity that came with them being the newest NHL franchise. Starting off with a very good 6-0-1 record as of today, and being in a tie for first place in the Western Division with the Kings and I believe the San Jose Sharks as well. And they picked up several players in their expansion draft that other teams did not claim or save, and they've been contributing very well. And the fan base in Las Vegas, especially due to the horrible tragedies that happened just a short while ago, their team is just one small way that a city that had been tragically wounded and really just tore apart can rally together in support of something positive to get behind after the events that occurred only a few short weeks ago in Las Vegas at that Jason Aldean concert, unfortunately. And finally, we will keep you updated on the Gwinnett Braves and let you know what their new name is as soon as that becomes available. Thank you for watching. This has been Alex Brickta with your Atlanta and National Sports Update. Have a great weekend.